Good morning, everyone. I hope you are fine and safe wherever you are. So welcome to our second class, biology. Just a continuation of what we were discussing last time. So today, last time we discussed pollutions. So we have discussed air pollution, soil pollution, and water pollution. So today I want us to look at something else, that is human diseases. So human diseases is actually the last bit of this topic, ecology. Then we'll begin another new topic. Yeah, so just to begin, human diseases. I believe that there is nothing new here. You've heard about people being sick. So a disease is just a condition of the body not functioning normally. Maybe because the body might have been infected. The body can be infected by a virus. The body can be infected by a bacteria. And the body can also be infected even by a certain fungi. The body can also be infected by protozoa. So those are categories of organisms. Take, for example, bacteria. Bacteria is all around us. We have a lot of bacteria around us. Wherever we are, there are always bacteria. But we have those which are considered to be pathogenic. A good number of bacteria are normally harmless, and you can just come into contact with them without being affected. But we have pathogenic bacteria which are very bad. Once you come into contact with them, then you will become sick immediately. So take, for example, the bacteria which causes cholera, the bacteria which causes typhoid. Once you come into contact with them, then you will become sick immediately. So we also have viruses. A lot of viruses, most viruses, I think, normally cause diseases. You know, for example, we have the HIV virus. We have, now we have the one which is now killing, which is now a headache in the whole world. You know it, eh? Yes, the COVID-19. Eh? Yes. Then we also have quite a number of viruses which cause diseases. We have the measles virus, we have the polio virus, and the etc. Now, at this level, we will only talk about, if we talk about bacterial diseases, we will not talk about all the bacterial diseases. We only pick a few. When we talk about protozoan diseases, we will not talk about all of them. We will only talk about a few, maybe two. And then we have these parasitic diseases, which are caused by parasites. We will also talk about just a few. We can't manage to talk about all the diseases. We know that there are very many. Then viral diseases, we will not talk about at this level. Yes, so let's begin. Let's begin. Now we will begin with the bacterial diseases, and I've said that bacterial diseases are simply caused by bacteria. They are diseases which are normally caused by bacteria. You come into contact, then you become sick. So what are the examples of bacterial diseases? For example, I have mentioned cholera. Cholera is a bacterial disease. We know that. Cholera is a bacterial disease. Now let me share with you some notes here. So you need to understand yeah, right there. Right there. Human diseases. Okay, human diseases. That is where we are. So I've mentioned bacterial diseases. Yeah. So bacterial diseases, the first one we will only talk about two, because I've said we are not going to talk about every disease here. We only talk about the ones which we only consider at this level. You will study others, very many others, at other levels. So cholera. So cholera is a bacterial disease and the causative agent. So you must know the causative agent of every disease. Causative agent is the organism that causes that disease. And this is very important because this is normally the one which is very common in question in biology, number one, for example. So you will be asked, for example, state the causative agent of the following diseases. One, you'll be told cholera. Two, typhoid. So make sure you know the causative agent. So the causative agent of cholera is called Vibrio cholerae. You can see there, Vibrio cholerae. So Vibrio cholerae is the causative agent of cholera. Now, if in exam situation, you can see this is a scientific name. So when you are writing Vibrio cholerae, make sure you follow the rules if it is in exam. Make sure the V there begins with in capital letter. Then the C is in small letter. Make sure you underline the two names separately. If you don't do that, you will just get a wrong, even if you have written it correctly. But you have failed to underline, then you will get a wrong. So follow the rule. When you're writing these scientific names of these causative agents of diseases in exam, make sure you underline them separately. So that is the causative agent of cholera. It's called Vibrio cholerae. So Vibrio cholerae. Let's move on to the next page. So most of these bacterial diseases are normally caused due to unhygienic condition. You are somebody who you just eat. For example, you just buy fruits along the way, and then you just begin to eat without washing. So if there was a contamination, you see, somebody might be somewhere very far. Somebody might be there very far, or there might be a sewage somewhere, and then the sewage is contaminated with these bacteria called Vibrio cholerae. Bacteria, if I refer to one, bacterium. So if that sewage is contaminated, then there is a bacterium there called Vibrio cholerae. Then there is a housefly. A housefly lands on that sewage. We are sure that the housefly will carry the bacterium on its legs. Then the housefly will be flying around. So when it lands on the fruits being sold along the road, for example, or even on some other kinds of food which are normally sold along the road, then you pass by, you buy, you just start eating. Then you will be ingesting this bacterium into your body. Once you ingest it, then there you go. You will start feeling sick. And cholera is a very bad disease. Once you have it, then you will start. One of the symptoms of this disease is diarrhea. So you will start to diarrhea. And it is a serious one. It is a serious, uncontrolled. You just diarrhea. And this is very bad for the body because as you diarrhea, you lose a lot of water. Losing a lot of water makes your body to be very much dehydrated. So normally, cholera can kill you. Even after a very short period, you can easily die as a result of cholera. That is if you don't get the treatment. But nowadays is only fortunate that we have drugs that can treat such. So once you are sick, once you show the symptoms of cholera, which I've said is Diarrheaing, very serious diarrheaing. When you show that, you can rush to the hospital, then you are given the antibiotics, then you just be okay. So that is how it is transmitted. Contaminated food. The contaminated food might have been contaminated by a fly, a house fly from very far. Somebody did something. We have, for example, in the village, people use the bushes around as toilets. So somebody does something, and then maybe the person is having cholera, maybe, and so then the housefly lands there. Then it flies around. Then it can go very fast, very many kilometers. Then you are there. You buy your mango. Then you just start eating without washing along the road. Then be assured you will have that cholera. So if we buy fruits, we must wash them thoroughly. Actually, it is even required that we wash them with soap if it is possible. So the symptoms I've mentioned, severe diarrhea that normally leads to excessive loss of water. I hope you can see that. It leads to excessive loss of water from the body. Your body becomes dehydrated, and then you'll also have a feeling of abdominal pain. The bacteria are inside your intestines, so that gives you a lot of pain. Then we have vomiting. You vomit seriously. So vomiting plus diarrhea makes you lose a lot of water. Then that leads to now the last one, which is dehydration. So the dehydration there can easily lead to death. Then prevention. How do you prevent this disease? How do we prevent this disease? So one of the best way of preventing not only cholera, but most of these diseases, make sure you maintain hygiene, proper sanitation. If we talk about sewage, let sewage be properly disposed. Before even it is disposed, let it be treated first before being exposed. Feces, human feces, should be disposed of properly. If it is in the village, let there be pit latrines, which are very, very, very deep in order to avoid the sun. If it is in the town, we use the flush toilets. So let the human feces be disposed of properly, not just throwing them around. That can lead to high chances of getting this disease called cholera. And then personal hygiene is also important. And I mentioned washing fruits, for example. If you buy fruits, buy vegetables, please make sure you wash such before you consume them. Drinking water must be boiled before you drink. If the water, that is if the water is not treated. In towns, people normally consume treated water, that is chlorinated water. But in the village, sometimes people get water even from the rivers. People get water from the boreholes. So before such water are consumed, the water is actually supposed to be boiled. Boiling kills the bacteria. Bacteria cannot survive in such high temperature. If you don't boil, then you can add water guard. Water guard is also a good way of maintaining or keeping that water safe for drinking. Yeah, hygiene, and hygiene. Even now, the disease we have around, they are just stressing on hygiene. You wash your hands. Make sure you just wash your hands. Keep on washing your hands. That is very good method of preventing these diseases. Then the other way of preventing this disease is through vaccination. People can also be vaccinated against these bacterial, for example, against cholera. You can vaccinate somebody such that when you come into contact with the real pathogen, then your body doesn't suffer. Vaccination simply involves introducing a weakened form of a disease causing microorganism into the system of a person. So today, if we were to vaccinate people against COVID-19 or coronavirus, it means the coronavirus is taken and then it is weakened. The virus is weakened such that when it is introduced into your body, it will not cause any harm, but it simply makes your body to respond. The body responds by producing antibodies against the coronavirus. So later on, now once those antibodies are produced by your body, their numbers will keep on increasing with time. So as the days go by, the numbers of the antibodies increases. So once now, maybe 3 months later, you come into contact with now the coronavirus, your body doesn't suffer. Why? Those antibodies are already present in your body. So once the coronavirus enters into your body, they will immediately be destroyed. That is vaccination. So most diseases, quite a number of diseases, have been prevented through this method, vaccination. So if you are to vaccinate against this cholera, just introduce a weakened form of that bacteria into the body system. Your body responds by producing the antibodies against the bacteria. And then when you come into contact with that now, the real pathogen, which is now the Vibrio cholerae, then your body doesn't suffer because the antibodies will simply destroy that pathogen. And then treatment, this is a bacterial disease. So bacterial disease, the doctors know the kind of drugs to prescribe, but they are always antibiotics. So just use antibiotics to treat this kind of disease. Once you are taken to the hospital, the doctors know the kind of antibiotics that they will prescribe for you. So once you are given that, the antibiotic will destroy the bacteria. Do you know why the bacteria makes you sick? Now, these bacteria, they make our bodies sick in this manner. Some bacteria, they produce certain chemicals. They produce some chemicals which makes us sick. So if we take certain antibiotics work in this manner. One, the antibiotics make those bacteria unable to produce those chemicals. That means even if the bacteria is present in our bodies, it won't cause any harm because the bacteria has been prevented from producing the chemical which makes us sick. So that is one way in which these antibiotics will help your body. The other way is that the antibiotics normally, if we have a bacteria, just interfere with its cell walls. Every bacteria has got a cell wall. Now that cell wall is what protects this bacteria. So just interfere with its cell wall. Just poke holes onto the cell walls of this bacteria or the bacterium, then you shall have destroyed the bacterium completely. So most antibiotics, either they prevent the bacteria from making chemicals or proteins, or they make holes onto the cell walls of bacteria. Once they do that, the bacteria will simply die after some times. So just use that. They are very effective. Only that there is always a problem of people or bacteria becoming resistant. And this is now, today it is a real challenge. Development of resistance is a very serious problem nowadays. And it comes because people normally just take antibiotics. They take them even if they have not been prescribed. You feel you are sick, then you take antibiotics. You are given by the doctor, go take this antibiotics. Finish the dose. Then most people don't finish the dose. Once they take some days, they feel they're okay, then they stop taking the drug. Now, When you do that, you are simply, maybe you are given 10 antibiotics, then you take 4. You feel you are okay. You forget about the rest. What you have done, you have simply weakened that bacteria in your system. You have not killed it, but you have simply weakened it. Now, weakening it like that, then you stop. You have given it a chance to develop what we call resistance. You have given it a chance to develop resistance. So, it will reach a time that the bacterium has developed resistance in your body. So even if you take the antibiotics, they don't work. And this is now a serious problem. This is why the doctors recommend that don't just use antibiotics anyhow. And if the doctors prescribe for you the antibiotics, please make sure you complete the dose so that the bacterium does not develop resistance. It is a serious challenge in the medical field today. Resistance, people just develop resistance. So it is the bacterium or the pathogens in us that develop resistance against the drugs, so that the drugs now do not work. So you need to know that also. That is good information for you, so that once you are given drugs by the doctor, make sure you take the full dose which has been prescribed. Then another treatment is just injecting fluids. We said that this disease, you lose a lot of the fluids through through diarrhea and also through vomiting. So taking a lot of fluids. So the fluids can be injected, or you can just be given orally. Hospitalini, they normally do this, unaongezwa tu maji, or you can just be given orally. Orally means through the mouth, just given through the mouth. Okay, now let's move on to the other disease. This is now typhoid. Typhoid. Now, what is the causative agent of typhoid? Now, typhoid is caused by an organism known as Salmonella typhi. Right there, you can check and see the spelling. Salmonella typhi. Here it is not underlined, but remember in exams I've said it must be underlined separately. Salmonella typhi. Typhi. Then there is a Y, you can see that. Then the last one is I. Most people normally interchange that in exam. If you just put, instead of putting Y, then wewe unaweka I. Then instead of putting I, where I is at the last, wewe hapo unaweka Y. That is very wrong spelling. Remember biology, spelling matters. So just writing a wrong spelling there. So check note on that so that you don't write wrong spelling. Salmonella typhi, remember the names must be underlined separately. Then just as typhoid, this one is normally transmitted also through contaminated food or contaminated water. You drink water which is not treated, the water has not been boiled, then it happens the water was contaminated. Maybe the water just, again, let me throw you to the rural side where people just drink water. Or even in town, the water can get contaminated. It's very much possible. Remember the water and the pipes. You don't know. You can never know where these pipes, where they are laid. So maybe it can be close to where we have some sewer lines also. So contamination is always possible. So you drink contaminated water, there you go. If the water is contaminated with Salmonella typhi, then you have typhoid. Yeah, now what are the symptoms? Symptoms of typhoid: we have fever, headache, muscle pains, spots, you also diarrhea. Then if it is very severe, then it can cause death. Fever means your body temperature increases than the normal one. The normal one we know is around 37 there. 36 there, from 36. But where your body is having, for example, 39, then I think that is high temperature. So probably you are having fever. Then headache. Then if your body also happens to be having muscle pains, you are also diarrheaing, then please, you are sick, make sure you go see the doctor. Then they will take you to the lab to test whether you are suffering from typhoid. So prevention, most are just the same. Most are just the same. Make sure you drink boiled water, proper sewage treatment, and also proper disposal of feces. That is very important. Then just observe personal hygiene. Wash your hands before you eat. Make sure you wash your hands. That is very important. Wash fruits and vegetables. If you buy them, please don't start eating without washing. Don't buy carrots, then you just start eating. Carry it, go with it, wash it thoroughly. Don't depend on that person that in your shed. You buy some mango, then you tell the person selling to you, just wash it for me. No. You never know the water being used to wash it. That water might have been used to wash so many of these mangoes. So it means the water could be contaminated already. So just carry the mango or the fruit, go wash it by yourself. Wash it thoroughly with the clean water. Yeah. Then treatment, use of antibiotics. This is a bacterial disease, so use antibiotics. Once you are sick, then the doctor will recommend for you the antibiotic, which is recommended for this disease. Yes, then let's now move on. So those are the two bacterial diseases that I wanted us to talk about. I hope remember you are going to write the notes, so write the notes later on. So let's move on to protozoan diseases. Now, a good example of protozoan diseases, we are going to look at two. One is malaria, and then the other one which we are going to talk about is amoebic dysentery. Now, malaria, all of us know what malaria, maybe probably you have suffered from malaria. Omar is asking about the last point of the symptoms. I've said in severe cases, it can cause mental confusion, which may result to death. Mental confusion may result and death. Yeah, if it is very serious, you have not even gone to the hospital. You are sick, but we hujaenda hata hospitali, and you have typhoid. Then it means, remember, bacteria normally divides very fast. So within a very short time, their numbers will be very high in our bodies. So that means your body will now be having a lot of these Salmonella typhi. And remember, too many of these bacteria will now make you to be very, very sick because they will be moving about in your body, in your bloodstream, for example. So it will bring about mental confusion, and the death is also possible. Yeah, you can die. This is now a case where you are now seriously sick. Yeah, so I hope that is clear. That is if it is very serious, we end up hospitally. But if you go to the hospital now, we might not say it is a severe condition. because you'll be given the antibiotics, which will start to reduce the effect of these bacteria in your body. I hope that is now clear. Now let's go back to protozoan diseases, and the first one I've said, we are starting with malaria. So malaria is a protozoan disease. Why is it called a protozoan disease? Simply because it is caused by a protozoan, which is called Plasmodium. Plasmodium is a protozoan. It's called Plasmodium. Yeah, that is the organism which causes malaria. Normally, we say Plasmodium spp. Why do you say Plasmodium spp? If you are told to name the causative agent of malaria, you can simply say Plasmodium spp. Why do we say SPP? Because there are several species of Plasmodium that can cause malaria. And as you can see, we have different Plasmodium here. Yeah, we have Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium vivax, and Plasmodium malariae. The other one is Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, and Plasmodium ovale. Now, all these Plasmodium, they have the ability to cause malaria. Now, I want to go to transmission. How do they get into our body system? Now, that should be now your worry. You should ask yourself, how does Plasmodium get into your body? Now, Plasmodium gets into our body. Now, a vector is normally is just a disease, an organism that can carry the disease-causing microorganism. That is what a vector is. It acts as let me say, it acts like a wheelbarrow, which carries something. A wheelbarrow normally carries something, so that is a vector. So the female Anopheles mosquito is normally a vector. It is a vector which carries the Plasmodium for malaria. Now, if it happens that a mosquito, the female Anopheles mosquito, bites a person with malaria, the mosquito normally sucks in blood. Remember, the Plasmodium normally moves about in the blood. So as the mosquito sucks blood from this person with malaria, the mosquito also sucks these protozoans, the Plasmodium. Now, when mosquito finally come and bite you, before it gets fresh blood, it normally injects some other fluids into your blood. It injects, then it sucks a fresh one. So as it ejects, it will be depositing a lot of Plasmodium which it had sucked from the person with the malaria. And therefore, there you go, your blood is now having Plasmodium, and now you will suffer from malaria. So the Anopheles mosquito normally acts as a vector to carry the Plasmodium. So the symptoms of mosquito, I believe some of us, we have suffered from malaria. We know the symptoms, for example, headache. Then you sweat, shivering at times. High temperatures are common. Chills, joint pains, and etc. Those are normally common signs of malaria. Then we normally say that the red blood cells are normally destroyed by the parasite. So the abdomen becomes tender. So what normally happens is that once we have these parasites in our blood, it normally attacks the red blood cell. So inaingia pale ndani into the red blood cell, then they divide inside theirs in an increase, then the red blood cell can even end up bursting. And this is why you suffer. The red blood cell has been destroyed. So you can just understand the consequences of that. Yeah, so I can see time is up. We have discussed malaria at Ujamaliza, but we will finish it next time. So we still have just kidogo tumebaki about malaria. Then we will go to the parasitic. We will move to the other parasitic diseases. Yeah. So that is the end of our lesson for today because of time. So please make sure you write the notes. So that when we meet next time, you should have written notes on cholera, typhoid, and also malaria. Okay, so that we can be moving together. Otherwise, time is up. If there is no question, that will mark the end of our lesson for today. Thank you very much.